is absolutely wild as Fern Gagne's all-star wrestling goes coast to coast and continent to continent. The greatest wrestlers in the world.
He may be an apprentice carpenter, but I guarantee you he is a seasoned ring veteran.
I've been hit with bar stools, bar rags, barmaids.
I'm talking to you.
They're scared that Hulkamania's still running wild. Oh, yeah. I got a big fat wife and 9 kids at home, and I gotta feed them.
And take a look at Jesse the Body in real life.
Open your hand once, if you would.
You want to see it?
This is absolutely unbelievable. Totally, completely out of control.
He's coming in over the top. Hey! Look out!
The nice thing about this show is that you're going to see us coming, right? When it's like, hey, look out. Well, yeah, you know we're coming, right? Because we don't, there's no run in here. There's no walk in here. Lest I say it's a bit of a waddle here, right? I mean, because I've been told when I run, I look like a penguin being chased by a polar bear. So we don't have to worry about any of that. If we had that voiceover, Mick, if you were to do a voiceover and commentary on us doing a run-in, it would, the person in the ring would be able to get away. We would not jump on it.
You remember that WWF Old Timers Battle Royal, where it took the Iron Sheik a day and a half to get to the ring?
Yes. Compared
to us, that would be a land speed record.
He'd be going warrior style. He'd be like,
oh yeah, absolutely. You're blown up already, aren't you? Just from doing that, I could tell.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Well, the announcer would have to say, and here they come out of the locker room. We'll be back right after this break.
Absolutely.
Break happens. Come back. We've just gotten past the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
The match is still happening.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. We'll be back right after this. Comes back out, and then our waddle in would be a roll underneath the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would interrupt the announcer for the next match's announcements.
And the pity about that too is that once we waddled into the ring and under the ropes, we would be doing a bushwhacker. We would be thrown out immediately,
mm-hmm.
in and out. So our entire entrance took 4 hours and 10 minutes, and we were in the ring for 7 seconds.
But see, this would also be us keeping our balance because we'd be like, whoa.
Well,
looks like Chupik at the Croatian Hall.
I've never heard of that place. If we're going to be the bushwhackers, Karch, you've got to be, was it Butch or Luke that licked the heads? You would be the head licker.
You know something?
Just saying.
I had to get that out of my system. I'm sorry.
That
I'm not done yet.
Yeah, that may be the ultimate there, Chupik.
Well, first and last time that me and ultimate would be used in the same sentence unless it was followed with idiot.
All right. Well, enough talking about the head licking. We should probably get into talking about wrestling here.
Oh!
Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Okay. Oh my God.
It doesn't matter. We have nobody left.
No.
They're gone.
Yeah.
This did it.
I think this may have been the show. It was a nice 187 show run, but I feel like we have now gone to the path where we won't even get picked up in syndication. But that's okay.
But I beg to differ. You've heard of a Gawker's slowdown?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much when people come to watch our podcast. It's a Gawker's watch for this train wreck, this multi-car pileup that we call AWA Unleashed.
Oh, we are a total shit show. We are a total shit show. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
Well, if we weren't before, Chupik's head licking has certainly, put us into that category.
I can't wait till the end of the show because I can only imagine the sort of nonsense that you guys are going to talk about. Let's get to the business. What?
No, don't let him talk, Chris. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk about heel tag teams this week, guys, and in no particular order. Mick put out a poll, and this is all based on response from you guys. So we're going to get to it. First of all, we do want to tell you that we are towards the end of the month, and as they say in AEW, you know what that means. That means for pinfall members, it is watch along time, and that is coming up. What we have is we have our pinfall membership, and that is access to the podcast a day early. You get our monthly video, our watch along, which, Joe will tell us about it here in a minute. You get our Back to Ringside, which is a weekly show that Mick and I do talking about the current state of professional wrestling. And we've got one that's going to be coming out tomorrow on Wednesday. And by the way, if you're a pinfall member and you have not signed up, you have not signed up to be a Ringsider of the Week, let me know, because I will get you the template and we will get you featured. You get a welcome letter from myself with a magnet and a sticker and a handwritten note. And then you get a five pack of Slick Mix picks. So there we go. Joe, what is our watch along this month? I didn't even ask because we're going to end up doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day for pinfall members. Let me say that.
Yep. So our watch along this month will be the first pay-per-view that we did for On Demand. Sort of repeating a title, but enhancing it from a 60-minute to a 90-minute show. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a 90-minute show, and it is the best of the 80s. And we've got Mean Gene Okerlund hosting the show. We did that down in Florida, in the Tampa area. God, I'm trying to think of that, about 23 years ago. Holy shit. But no, great show. Looking forward to it. There is one other thing that I wanted to apologize to our fans for. I think we've been promoting Downtown Bruno to be on the show. Scheduling conflicts on Bruno's side have delayed him being on the show. He wants to do it. He apologizes profusely, but he still does work for the WWE. And let's see, timing wise, it was his birthday. They called him in to go wherever the hell he needed to go early. So he had to postpone, not cancel, but postpone his appearance on AWA Unleashed. So he did ask me to share that with our audience. We will have him on at some point.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we're at with a lot of people. It's like we get them and then scheduling conflicts and whatnot. So we're, always working around people. Oh, by the way, I've got a name that I want to talk to you guys about here in not necessarily an AWA, but one of the biggest podcasting names that's out there. I've been in contact with his people. He wants to do the show and he wants to do it fairly soon. So one of the biggest wrestling podcasters, former worker, not AWA, but he does want to do the show. And I will leave it at that.
I'm intrigued because I don't even know who the hell you're talking about.
Sounds good.
Maven there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Maven. Because I know his people. So we'll get that here shortly. Not know his people. I know his producer, Zach, who I got Zach into the wrestling business, by the way. You're welcome, Maven. I'm going to take full credit for getting Zach into the wrestling business. Okay, heel tag teams. Now that we pretty much burned the first 10 minutes of the show, we got about 45 minutes to get through these tag teams. I'm going to take myself off the screen. I'm going to let you guys go. And as I say, here we go. Ring the bell, ding, 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 because we finally hit I guess it would make sense with as long as it takes us to get into the ring. It took us this long to get into by the way, T-Public as well for all your Slick Mick and AWA Unleashed merchandise. 10 minutes, boom, go.
All right. A little disclaimer, as it were. First of all, I asked you via Facebook to send me who you thought were the best heel tag teams of the AWA in history. And there was a little bit of a caveat. I said, this would be in their heel runs, because a lot of tag teams started out as heels, but eventually turned babyface. So, I'm talking just the heel runs of these teams. And I was really pleased because this one, you responded kind of all eras. All history of wrestling was kind of represented in this one. And I would say, looking at the list, yeah, these were absolutely the best tag teams in the AWA. We're not going to put them in any particular order because, we'll be accused of bias. So I didn't tally up all the votes, but this is going to be an interesting list. We got a couple of honorable mentions first. They didn't garner quite as many votes as the rest of them, but it's a good list. There we go right there. Joe, you'll work with these guys, and here's what's interesting. The Texas Hangmen. Texas Hangmen, we kind of spotlighted them on a previous show, and I had mentioned Mike Moran and Mike Richards and Rick Gantner.
Still the scariest tag team, the scariest tag team that I've ever encountered. Thank you, Mike. Love you. You're my guy, but you scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. And what we were told by Tom Rocky Stone, source authority on professional wrestling, Tom says that by the time they got to the AWA, the Texas Hangmen actually were composed of Mike Moran, Mike Richards, and Mike Bennett, the tag team that went down to be Disorderly Conduct in the NWA area. So I'm assuming that that's who we're looking at right here. It's kind of hard to tell with the face if that's Mike Bennett or Rick Gantner, but needless to say, in the dying days of the AWA, Joe, they were a power.
Yep, I've said it before. It would have been interesting to have them in the AWA earlier, in the Rockers era, the Rose Summers era, to see what they could have done. By the time they did get into the AWA, let's just say things weren't going too well for the AWA, but I guess that's also a testament to them that they've made this list. People still remember them. They still appreciate them at a time when the AWA was literally dying. So kudos to the Texas Hangmen for their run and also for making our list.
Yeah, and again, this is an honorable mention. So they showed up a couple of times in people's memories, but not enough to crack the, I believe, the top 20, 25. This is another honorable mention tag team, I believe, and that would be Buddy Wolf. On the left, the late Buddy Wolf and his tag team partner, Luscious Larry Heinemi, a.k.a. Luscious Lars Anderson. Two Minnesota guys, two legit tough guys, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Larry looked like you wouldn't want to mess with him.
Oh,
he just has that scowl on his face of, don't breathe within my area or I will hurt you.
Yeah, Luscious Lars or Larry Heinemi had kind of the Billy Robinson disposition. So that will kind of tell you. Buddy Wolf, one of the nicest guys ever in the history of the business, and one of the most underrated. So again, this is an honorable mention tag team, but certainly they made their mark in the AWA.
And of course, I got to add in beautiful Buddy Wolf.
Beautiful Buddy Wolf, yes, sir. All right, Chris.
Let's go across the pond. I guess the western pond.
Yeah, the full or pseudo Japanese tag team combination of Dr. Moto on the left and Mitsu Arakawa on the right. Dr. Moto eventually went to the WWF as Tor Kamata, but he and Mitsu had a short run as AWA tag team champions. And believe it or not, imagine this, They were a notoriously horrendous, vicious, vile foreign tag team. Yes, they used the salt in the eyes. They did everything that you would expect a Japanese tag team to do. But honorable mention here from our viewers.
Gotta say, I believe they are the first Hawaiian tag team champions of the AWA. Wrestling, you gotta love it.
Gotta love it. All right, we're going into our main list. And again, this is in no particular order because had it been, these guys would be right up near the top. That is the late combination of Pat Patterson and Ray the Crippler Stevens. Of course, before they came to the AWA, Joe, tremendously successful out on the West Coast and wherever they went. Here in the AWA, stellar tag team.
Well, at one point, now whether it's true or not, I believe it to be so, but Ray Stevens held the record for being on cards where there were the most consecutive sellouts at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Now, in this photo, little unknown fact that they're both trying to write down as they recall how many cocktails they had the night before to see who had more. My money would be on Ray.
I think that would be a safe bet. I think they both stopped counting at about 8 dozen. But yeah, nonetheless, they're trying to scribble something there. Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens, one of the greatest tag teams in the history of the business. No matter what promotion you were in, they were amazing. All right. Let's take a look. Let's see who else we got coming up, Mr. Tubbs. There's a team we may know. And how could you not say this is one of the greatest heel tag teams of all time in the AWA? In the 1980s, the early 80s, when the AWA was so fucking red hot, Jesse Ventura and Adrian Adonis, the East-West connection. Jesse, because he was from this area, had kind of a following, and Jesse was kind of a cult figure. Adrian Adonis, before he did that horrific transformation that he did in the WWF, legit tough guy. What a tag team. Sellout crowds consistently at the Civic Center. My
best comment coming from this Polish brain is that, to me, this is a tag team that complemented each other better than any other tag team. Jesse, mediocre worker, one of the best talkers in the business. Adrian, while he could cut a promo, it was his in-ring work that really made him stand out. And together, they did become AWA champions. The East-West connection. And as you said, in the early 80s, I don't think there was a territory hotter than the AWA. And these two are a big part of that reason.
No question about it. And of course, tragically, 1988, we lost Adrian Adonis, the same month that we lost Bruiser Brody. So that was July of 1988. But again, tremendous tag team here in the AWA. No question. One of the greatest of all time. Thank you for your votes, folks. Let's see who else made our list. And again, these are heel tag teams. And I'm telling you, back in the day, and I'm looking here in the AWA, this would be the late 60s, early 1970s. Mad Dog Vachon, of course, he eventually became a beloved babyface here. Seasoned ring veteran, as they say. His tag team partner, his legitimate brother. Can you imagine that, Joe? A legitimate brother tag team in wrestling history. Paul the Butcher Vachon. They were unmatched as far as terrorizing the AWA.
I always wondered what happened to Butcher, because when I was young, I was born in 65. So, I'm still in single digits when they had their incredible run in the AWA. But I always wondered, Mad Dog was here, in and out, never saw Paul the Butcher again. And I literally remember Mad Dog doing interviews saying, he's going to have a surprise partner. And I always expected it to be Paul the Butcher. but it never happened. So for whatever the reason, he never did come back to the AWA, but when he was here, yeah, these two, the Butcher and the Mad Dog, were as scary as it got.
Yeah, and Butcher Vachon wound up actually, he did a little bit of a stint in the WWF, but he was way past his prime at that point. What a beautiful singing voice, too, miraculously. Butcher Vachon entertained people at Cauliflower Alley Club many, many years with his beautiful singing voice. And, of course, he and the Dog, their feud with Red Bastien and Billy Red Lions in the AWA, and their feuds with the Crusher and Dick the Bruiser, and so on and so forth. Two legends, legit legends in wrestling history.
And without a doubt, deserve to be on this list.
All right. Who else did the folks decide should be on our list? This one surprised me because there are still a few old timers out there that remember Karl Kalmikoff on the left and Ivan Kalmikoff on the right. No, they were not brothers. I know that's hard to believe. No, they were not real Kalmikoffs. Their last names, I know I mentioned before that Ivan's real last name was Bruce, or a variation of Edward Bruce. And Karl Kalmikoff's real name, it's like reading an eye chart. You get tongue-tied trying to put it together. I believe he was of Polish extraction. And together in the early 1960s, they had actually been teaming up since the 1950s, but they were AWA Tag Team Champions in the early 1960s. And Ivan went off to manage the mighty Igor as a babyface here in the AWA area. But the Kalmikoff brothers, back in the day when the hated Russian tag teams would come to the AWA, they were the real deal. No question about it. And thanks for the handful of people that said, hey, let's put the Kalmikoffs on this list. Legit heels.
Yeah, they were before my time, but I certainly had heard of them and saw plenty of promo pics in the AWA, but they were here at a time when they did not save that old footage, unfortunately.
Yeah, figures.
Yeah, we've discussed that before. Who do we got next, Stubbsy?
Now, I started out with a disclaimer that we were not going in any particular order, because had it been up to me, this would be the very last tag team that we put up on the screen as the greatest of all time. But I don't think there is any denying that this was a team that was put together. They had worked together in the Bay Area, out in California and in Hawaii, and Vern and the powers that be in the AWA put them together as a tag team, Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens. And in the 70s, when wrestling fans still believed and they still rioted and they still got furious at the heels, there was nobody that generated more heat than Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens, no matter who they got into the ring with. When you add Bobby Heenan into the mix as their manager in 1974, combustible with a capital C, in my opinion, the greatest of all time, you folks put them on the list.
Tough to really dispute what you just said about them being the greatest AWA tag team of all time. The heat that they generated, their abilities in the ring, while Nick was the polished Hollywood, California wrestler, Ray was the back alley, barroom brawling. Let's see, what did he say? He's a trucker, a fighter, and a wild bull rider.
There we go.
I think is what the little thing that Ray had taught me. But yeah, if they're not at the top of the list of anybody's list, they deserve to be at the very least in the top 3.
Oh, my favorite tag team of all time, no question about it. And again, part of the Heenan family, and that, of course, is legendary in this business. Let's take a look at who else was voted on and voted in. Oh, God, we go from one to the other. Arguably, this tag team as well could be one of the top 1, 2, 3 in the business in the history of the AWA. Larry Hennig, he was Pretty Boy Larry Hennig at the time, hadn't become the Axe yet, and Handsome Harley Race. And their careers took off in different directions once they split up as a tag team. But here in the AWA, 1964 through about 1967 or so, Hennig and Race were absolutely it. Feuds with the Crusher and Dick the Bruiser, legendary. They sold out every arena that they appeared in, from Denver to Chicago to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Larry, of course, stayed home for the most part for the duration of his career, eventually turned babyface. Harley Race, arguably, outside of maybe Haku, the toughest guy in the history of the wrestling business, former NWA champion on multiple occasions. You cannot have a list of great AWA heels without Hennig and Race.
I can only go by what I have been told, because, again, they were before my time in terms of, remembering shit. And no, Mick, I'm not talking about my my late teens and early 20 years. But that's a whole nother story. But legendary, these two. We had Harley Race's son on our show to help tell us more about the man Harley Race. I wish that Harley would have come back a little bit more. At least he finished his AWA career with what was a pretty damn good match against Rick Martel at Wrestle Rock.
Yeah.
But there again, I mean, Harley was near the end of his run. The version that you see right here, probably the best version of Harley Race.
It's interesting, Joe. You mentioned Harley's match with Rick Martel at Wrestle Rock. Remember, Harley actually did come back later on. He came back in 1990, 89-90. He was in Rochester, and he had a little bit of a feud going with Larry Zbyszko. But at that time, Harley actually was a babyface. He had become a babyface probably because he was in the ring with Larry Zbyszko here in the AWA. But right there, folks, take a look, because this tag team, individually or as a team, Hall of Fame written all over it. End of story.
I now that you say that, I do remember when Harley came back. And, again, it was before his King of the Ring, or the King Harley Race and the WWF at the time. But, it was at the end of his career, and we all slow down. Father Time waits for no one. But Harley still had a good run as a WWF. And I do now remember the, shall we say, mini feud against Larry Zbyszko. I just think it, much like Larry Zbyszko taking time to get a match started, took me a little time to remember that Harley actually did come back after Wrestle Rock.
It's quite all right. But again, legendary. And that is not hyperbole. Capital L, legends in the business.
Agreed.
All right. Who else did the folks? Oh, boy. This is interesting, because we got a couple of mix and matches, personality-wise and talent-wise, in this area. But Ken Patera, Lawrence of Arabia, which he hated. He was, Adnan called him Lawrence of Arabia, and Sheik Ayatollah Jerry Blackwell. What a tag team combination. You talk about two legitimate badasses, Patera and Blackwell, and outside the ring, personality-wise, you couldn't find two more opposite guys. Ken Patera, what you saw in the ring with Ken was kind of his basic outlook on life, his worldview. Jerry Blackwell, you mentioned, Joe, the good old Southern country boy, Southern charm outside the ring. Inside the ring in the 80s, they got such incredible heat in the AWA. You can't ignore. This is one of the best teams of all time.
And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't say how they got together. And that was that Adnan LKC bought Ken Patera from Bobby Heenan.
Yes.
With a whole suitcase full of Monopoly money.
Hey, And monopoly money actually has increased in value over the years. So what it's worth today, as opposed to 1982 or 83, you don't know. But Patera and Blackwell, two hard-hitting SOBs, no question about it. And of course, they're going to be on this list. No question.
So you could say that monopoly money is sort of like an early version of crypto.
You could, and you did. All right. Who else did the folks decide? And there he is again. That is Mr. Patera on the right, not on the far right because that's referee Doug Gilbert. Ken Patera second for the right, and his tag team partner, Big Bad Bobby Duncombe, the Black and Blue Express in the AWA. And again, nothing fancy about these two, Joe. We've talked many times. Bobby Duncombe, so underrated. He was such a great worker here in the AWA. But the Black and Blue Express, absolutely, yes. Fans of the 80s AWA, tag team list, these guys are a shoe-in.
And if I'm remembering correctly, were they not a part of the Heenan family?
They were. Absolutely, they were. You bet. So again, that's instant success when you're part of the Heenan family. But Duncombe and Patera, again, Ken Patera, legendary in the business. Bobby Duncombe, I don't think ever really got his due, his just due. He was a tremendous, tremendous talent. And what a tag team, Black and Blue Express. All right.
Well deserved.
Yep.
What do we got next, Tubbsy?
Let's take a look and see who's coming up. Unless Tubbsy fell asleep. Oh, here we go. Now you're getting again towards the dying days of the AWA. And yes, that is Diamond Dallas Page on the far right. People forget a lot of times that he actually was the manager of the heel tag team combination of Bad Company, Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond. And actually in the voting, a lot of people had Diamond and Tanaka on their list because they go back to the 1990 era in the AWA. Nothing flashy about this tag team, very devious in the ring, but yes, still made a splash in the dying days of the AWA.
And you can't forget about the Diamond Dolls that would come out with them. Page would bring up a couple, one or two gals up from Florida with him, and they made the team look good, shall we say. Not that they didn't need help looking good because they were a formidable tag team, but they added a shine to this tag team.
Well, I think they were something different too, though, at that time as well, because you needed something that could give you a little bit of juice. And I think Bad Company with DDP and the Diamond Dolls, and and to credit to Dallas, like he took that with him to the early part of WCW as well. So I think this was really a place. I think one thing, at least in the dying days of the AWA, it was kind of a playground for people, right? I feel like they could try things and throw it at the wall. And that was something that I don't know whose brainchild it was, if it was Page's, but I think it worked because it was different, and it added maybe a little bit of juice that the AWA really needed.
Chris, that's a great point. And the AWA, not only was it kind of a trying ground for people who would eventually go on to great things, but also the veterans who were kind of at the end of their run. It was it was kind of a mishmash here in the AWA. But Pat Tanaka, God bless him. We are sooner or later, we're going to get Pat on the show.
Dude, we had him. Just
right
technical issues prevented Pat Tanaka from being there. He was literally there, like he was trying to connect. But yeah, we are going to get Pat Tanaka. Again, he's one of those guys that really wants to do it. It's just a matter of tracking him down for the right time. So We'll get it.
My one comment about the trio is that it was a bit unconventional by old school wrestling standards, and that is that the manager was the biggest of the three.
Yeah.
I mean, Pat Tanaka is
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Joe.
Pat's vertically challenged. Paul, average size, but was, well put together. Paige is my height. I'm 6'3". He might even be 6'4". And so to have a wrestling manager be bigger than the wrestlers that he's managing, I don't think it was something you would have seen in the 70s or early 80s for that matter. But lo and behold, they came in the later stages of the 80s. I want to say about 87-ish.
Yeah.
And but you know what? It worked, and they generated heat, and they ended up getting the straps.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. Who else did the people? Forget that guy in the middle. But
I was going to say, speaking of generating heat.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more sizzling than that goofy caterpillar dying on the vine mustache that guy has in the middle. Buddy Rose and Doug Summers. And this picture actually was taken. I was interviewing the boys at a Windy City show just outside of Chicago. Would have been 1988-ish, I believe. Rose and Summers, to me, are so grossly underestimated, Joe, and I won't say underappreciated, because if you watch them and enough people voted for them to make this list, they know how damn good these guys really, really were. And again, you're taking a guy like Doug Summers, journeyman wrestler, here in the AWA, really not much more than an enhancement guy, but to put him with somebody like Paul Perchman, Buddy Rose, who was a ring general, and all of a sudden, and their feuds with the Midnight Rockers, off the fucking charts.
I've called that the Las Vegas bloodbath between Rose and Summers and the Rockers as one of the greatest matches that I've ever personally witnessed and been in the production truck for, and I will state that forever. They had me going in the truck. I sort of put these two in the same category when I was explaining the East-West connection. Although both of these guys could flip and work the ring. You called Buddy Rose a ring general. Doug Summers was as well.
Yeah.
Doug's promos were, but you didn't need it, because not only did you have Buddy Rose, but you had Sherry Martel.
Yes.
So, but that trio worked so damn well. In fact, I will give them credit, along with the Rockers in that feud, and Sherry, of course, for a temporary revival of the AWA, because they sold out the Showboat Hotel every month during that maybe about a 6-month run, 6 to 8 month run, I think, that they had against the Rockers. They sold it out because they wanted to see them get their asses kicked by Sean and Marty.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sherry Martel, God bless her. She certainly enhanced this tag team, no doubt about it. Sherry was gone by the time I'm interviewing these guys. Sherry left even before I joined the AWA in '87. But Rose and Summers and the Midnight Rockers, folks, if you want a lesson in wrestling bloodbath history, catch that one on YouTube. Tremendously underrated talent, Rose and Summers.
Yeah,
All right.
I think we have a part of that match in one of our watch-alongs.
Oh, great stuff.
So,
all right, what do we got next there, Mr. Tubbs? That the people voted for, wanted to see, tag team wise. Well, what do you know?
Hey, hold on a sec, Mick. I got this.
You handle it. Again, you're talking the end of the AWA's run, late 80s, early 90s. Wayne Bloom and Mike Enos. There's no question the Destruction Crew, especially if you're fans that only go back that far, you still remember Bloom and Enos. And they were such a tough tag team. Again, former AWA tag team champions. I hated it when they became the Beverly Brothers in the WWF. They also, I believe, went in as a masked tag team in WCW as a version of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew #2. But their heyday to me, absolutely. Bo and Blake Beverly, my ass. That's Wayne Bloom and Mike Enos. Wayne the Train and Mean Mike here in the AWA.
Yeah, the Beverly Brothers was almost like a revenge thing of the WWF, just because, hey, you worked in the AWA, you were on top, we're going to completely fuck over your gimmick and give you the Beverly Brothers. Yeah. So I agree with you, absolutely hated it. But as the Destruction Crew, I'll say the same thing about them that I said about the Hangman. I would have loved to have seen the Destruction Crew in the mid 80s. Hell, I'd even go into the early 80s. Although they were too young for that. But to get them into the mix, they should be on this list 100%. And for anybody that thinks when Mean Mike Enos would do the sledgehammer and just with his wrist and forearm, turn it down, kiss the head of the sledgehammer and put it back up, for the record, that was not a gimmicked sledgehammer. That was real. And the strength needed to do what he did was incredible.
Why would I know that Vince likes to screw over people that might have had success in other promotions. At this point, when the AWA was at the end of its run, why would you take a tag team that was successful in a promotion that was not a threat to you and bury them? Like, to me, it seemed completely
because he could.
Yeah, Chris,
it just seemed pointless. Like there's no reason to do it, because it's not like they were WCW in the mid to late 90s that were taking Vince to the woodshed. I mean, they were not a threat ratings wise at all.
Chris, it's Dusty Rhodes and Polka Dots. It's Barry Windham as the Widowmaker. It's Dan Spivey as Waylon Mercy.
Waylon Mercy.
You could
Ricky Steamboat.
Yep, the Dragon. He could do it, and he did it. And he wanted cartoon characters, and he wanted trademark names, and he got away with it. So we have the memories of when Bloom and Enos were the real deal here in the AWA. And thanks, folks, for your votes. We really appreciate that. Well deserved.
Agreed.
All right, who's up next? Via the people who made these choices. Let's see what Tubbsy has. How can you not? They were not.
Good luck burying these guys, Vince. Good luck with that.
Exactly. Well,
rebrand these guys as like the Pigeons or something.
Pigeons.
The Pittsburgh Pelicans or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no rebranding of these guys. The Fabulous Freebirds, regardless.
The Mid-Card Monarchs. I could keep going.
They're the various incarnations of the Birds here in the AWA area, but nonetheless, they weren't here for a long time, relatively speaking. But again, when you talk heel tag teams in the AWA, you got to add Jimmy Garvin to the mix, of course. Gorgeous Jimmy as part of the Freebirds. But honest to God, and talk about guys who lived the gimmick. Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, maybe to a lesser extent, Jimmy Garvin. But what you saw with the Freebirds and Bad Street and drinking and boozing and everything else, that was it. That was them.
There's a reason they called him Buddy Jack Roberts.
Oh.
No, that wasn't like a family name or a nickname, but it referred to a Kentucky whiskey, or is it Tennessee? I'm not sure where Jack Daniels is made, but yeah, Buddy liked his Jack Daniels.
Not only in the AWA, but wherever they went, especially in Texas, their feud with the Von Erichs, one of the great feuds in wrestling history. I don't give a shit what promotion you're talking about. And when they went out east, everywhere they went, the Fabulous Freebirds made a splash, won a tag team championship, or at the very least, tore apart a couple of bars and restaurants and, got into some drunken brawls. But legendary, absolutely belong on the list. Thank you, folks. You got it right again.
And as Chris gets ready for the next one, I was just going to say the Freebirds, I think, deserve to be on a top list overall.
Absolutely.
For the faction that they had. And this one, of course, I see Adnan, and the first words that pop into my head are, "You prick!"
Mick Crotch. How is your crotch today, my friend? Sheik Ayatollah Blackwell and Sheik Adnan LKC. We talked about the mix and match with Ken Patera earlier on. Blackwell and the Sheik. And again, here you take a good old Southern country boy from Stone Mountain, Georgia, and you turn him into a Sheik Ayatollah Blackwell. He's got that big back, take several massages. Love these two. Adnan LKC. We lost Adnan a few years ago. One of the great characters in the business, one of our great friends, Joe. No question about it. Blackwell and the Sheik, Blackwell and Patera, Sheik and Patera mix and match. They owned 1980s AWA tag team wrestling in the AWA.
Much like the Freebirds, though, Adnan and Jerry Blackwell actually had a third man or third entity as part of their tag team. And that was the arm cast that lasted for about 3 flippin' years before Vern and Mad Dog finally ripped it off at Super Sunday.
I attended Adnan's funeral. God bless him. I couldn't tell if he still had the cast on as he was departing to the next world. It wouldn't surprise me. And Jerry Blackwell, of course, God love Jerry. He's probably somewhere eating all those Kit Kat candy bars and drinking the Mountain Dew that he had no business drinking because he was such a diabetic. But what a tag team combination. The harem, the camels and the entourage still waiting, the caravan, the barking of the dogs will not stop the caravan, according to Sheik Adnan LKC. And God damn it, no, it won't. It goes on forever.
Still looking at Adnan's mini back bumps.
Oh,
he would crouch down and then fall back. Sort of reminds me of my 10-month-old grandson.
Couple of characters there, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. I love that picture. Jerry Blackwell and Sheik Adnan LKC. Now, this is a tag team, and I'm glad they got enough votes to get recognition. There, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman with the open forehead is our buddy Stan Crusher Kowalski. Don't call him the Big K. He hated it. His tag team partner, Tiny Mills. And we've mentioned on this podcast many times, they were the very first AWA tag team champions. They actually were the NWA International Tag Team Champions. And when the AWA was formed in 1960, Stan and Tiny were its inaugural AWA Tag Team Champions. Tiny, the king of the Lumberjacks, and Stan Kowalski, the king of Northeast Minneapolis. And together, legendary Murder Incorporated. I know, Joe, one of your favorite tag team names of all time. And early 1960s, Tiny and Stan, nobody better. They absolutely cleaned house. Nothing flashy about them. And again, damn it, the footage is erased. It's gone. So watching Murder Incorporated, Mills and Kowalski, you just can't do it. What a pity.
Another tag team that was before my time, before the time of Vern saving the old matches, as you had alluded to, but I remember first hearing about Murder Incorporated, which really wasn't until I started with the AWA, because there was no internet. These guys were early, mid-60s. I was born in 65 again. And so I didn't really know about them. But then when I heard the name, I absolutely loved it and still love it to this day.
No doubt about it. Absolutely. You rank the AWA tag teams. If they're not at the top, they're pretty damn close. Mills and Kowalski, Murder Incorporated. All right, let's take a look and see who we got coming up now. This will be a very interesting tag team combination. Not sure if we have a pick, but if we don't, we'll talk about them. There they are. There they are. And again, you look at them, and, later fans might say, wait a second, these guys were beloved. Not always. Mad Dog Vachon and Baron von Raschke, a very hated heel tag team combination in the 1970s. And legends, both of them, Joe, period.
Without a doubt. When I think of Baron and tag teams, I have to admit the first thing that pops into my mind is Horst Hoffman with Mad Dog or with Baron von Raschke. But these two, look at that. I really believe that the phrase "a face only a mother could love" was because of this tag team. And this is coming from somebody whose face my mother is the only one that could love. But yeah, look at those two. I don't know if Mad Dog is like smiling or if he's looking at the cameraman who's taking the photo thinking, oh, I can bite him in the leg and he will like it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you notice Mad Dog actually for this picture has his full set of teeth in, at least the partial. He doesn't have them missing there. Talk about your classic heel pose for a promo picture, Mad Dog Vachon and Baron von Raschke. And again, outside the ring, Chris and Joe, you know this very well. Two of the nicest, most soft-spoken guys you'd ever want to meet, the Dog and the Baron.
And
it's got to be AI if he's got all their teeth. And by the way, if it makes you feel any better, my mother doesn't even love my face, so it's okay. And my mother doesn't love anything about me, but that's my problem.
And Mick, to your point, outside the ring, two of the funniest guys in the business. Baron just has this dry wit, this dry humor to him, and Mad Dog he just liked to have fun in a clean way.
Yeah, and again, legendary tag team. And we started out by saying, when you talk about the heel tag teams, we're not interested in whether or not they turn babyface. Rate them according to their heel run, and it didn't get much better than the Dog and the Baron.
Yep. What do we got next, Chris?
Oh, well, I think I recognize these guys. And again, you wouldn't know it now. History has borne out that they were one of the most popular tag teams, babyface tag teams, if you can call these two guys babyfaces. Look at them. Hardly what you would consider to be a babyface. But Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, when they came to the AWA in 1984, they had been in the business just a very short time, went down to the Georgia area for Ole Anderson. They were a hated heel tag team combination. They were so believable. What you saw in the ring with Animal and Hawk is what you're going to see at Grandma's Saloon. These guys would pick a fight with anybody. And yes, they were heels. They were longtime heels. They feuded with the likes of, the Crusher and the Baron and Larry Hennig and Kurt Hennig and King Kong Bundy and Jerry Blackwell. So they were a heel tag team combination, but the fans were always just itching to start cheering for these guys.
They were so beloved, I guess I would say, that their first big feud in the AWA was against the Fabulous Ones, if I'm remembering correctly. And the Fabs were this, two good-looking guys. They had the music video, and they, were strutting their stuff. But when they went into the ring against the Road Warriors, the fans were cheering the Road Warriors. Initially, it was like, well, who do I cheer for? It didn't take long before they started cheering for the Road Warriors. And so the promoters had really no choice but to make them baby faces because of, as it's still referred to today as the Road Warrior pop. And I've said this, I give credit to Hulk Hogan for changing singles wrestling and professional wrestling, but I give the Road Warriors credit for changing tag team wrestling.
No doubt.
It's just like everything changed after they came into the business for tag teams. And Animal and Hawk, while their in-ring skills, could not match up with, I'll even say, a Rose and Summers as far as their technical expertise, how they came across to the fans to this day is second to none, in my opinion.
And I would go so far as, Joe, as to say, forget that Legion of Doom LOD stuff when they went out to New York, because even that was a watered down version of the Road Warriors. And then Hawk teaming up with, I believe it was the great Sasuke from Japan, and then Animal teaming up with Heidenreich. It just didn't fly. But your 1980s Road Warriors, as you said, it absolutely transformed the wrestling business. I would say even in singles competition, not only tag teams. I think these two guys right here are responsible for the shift from the milquetoast babyface to the tough guy babyface that you knew could legitimately kick somebody's ass.
Agreed. And one other point I'll bring up is the photo that you're seeing here is, I believe this would have been the WWF days.
Yeah.
I remember the original version of the Road Warriors when they came out, and they were bikers dressed in leather. You don't see many photos of that. A lot of people remember them with their shoulder pads and so forth. But that early version of the Road Warriors when they first came out, wow. It could have been one match at the St. Paul Civic Center, and if it had the Road Warriors on it, it was still going to sell out.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Legendary. All right.
What's next, Tubbs?
Who we got coming up? Who's on the Rolodex of the greatest heel tag teams in AWA history? We talked about this earlier on, the mix and match. There you have the tag team combination of Blackjack Lanza on the left, Bobby the Brain Heenan in the middle, and Big Bad Bobby Duncum. Again, tag team champions. Jack was a legit tough guy. We've talked about the badasses in the business. It's not very many guys that are voted by their classmates as the most likely to beat the shit out of you in an alley. Jack Lanza was that guy. And of course, Bobby Heenan is the mouthpiece. Legendary tag team combination here in the AWA area. And again, let's talk about how underrated Bobby Duncum was. He was also a stellar member of this tag team combination. And back in the day before Jack turned to White Jack Lanza and turned on Bobby Heenan, this was a diabolical, hated tag team in an era where people still believed.
And Chris, you don't have to put up the photo, but I was thinking about it earlier when we had Duncum and Patera as the Black and Blue Express, about how big Bobby Duncum really is. Now, in that photo, Patera's behind him, so it's not fair from a perspective standpoint. Bobby, look how much bigger he is. Yeah. And Ken Patera is, he's a little bit shorter than I am. He's probably 6'1", 6'2". Bobby Duncum, now if we go back to the Blackjack Lanza photo, Jack was my height. He was 6'3". Bobby Duncum there, I'm going to guess Bobby was a legitimate 6'6", 6'7".
He's a big boy and 300 pounds for sure. I mean, this is another guy from West Texas State, I believe, that turned out a lot of great professional wrestlers. But members of the Heenan family, I don't care. You talk about your John Studds and your King Kong Bundys. That's not the Heenan family. This right here in the AWA, that was the Heenan family, and legendary. Thanks for putting them on the list, folks. They belong there.
Agreed.
All right. Who's next? Let's take a peek and see who the people vote. Oh, There you are. There you are, Chupik. We finally got to your guy. Crusher looks like he's struggling a little bit there. I believe that's either phone books or it's the books of the territories that I've killed as an announcer over the years. Maybe a little bit thicker, but the Crusher and Dick the Bruiser. And again, people are going to say who don't follow wrestling that closely. They go, wait a second. Crusher and Bruiser weren't heels. They weren't bad guys. People loved them. Tell you what, folks, go into the early 1960s, and this tag team was absolutely hated here in the AWA, into Chicago, into Indianapolis. There was always speculation what would happen with Crusher and Bruiser in their prime against the Road Warriors. My God, you don't want to be sitting front row. It would be like being at a Gallagher concert. You'd have to cover up so you don't get blood sprayed on you or watermelon juice or whatever. What a legendary combination.
I believe I've said it before, but I'll say it again. My overall favorite tag team was Crusher and Bruiser. They weren't great technical wrestlers. Bruiser's interviews were, Crusher's were way off the charts, in my opinion. But these two, from what I remember as being the babyface guys, a couple of barroom brawling, Wanda loving, beer drinking, polka dancing, tough guys. And of course, I have to admit, Crusher, being of Polish descent, had that extra special place in my mind. But these two, and again, favorite tag team, not necessarily greatest tag team, but these two were and are my favorite tag team ever.
In the AWA as heels, they had a relatively short run. It was a couple of years, probably 1963-ish into 1965. The tag team that turned the Crusher and the Bruiser into crowd favorites in the AWA was Larry Hennig and Harley Race. So that just shows you. Can you think about what we're saying right there? Larry Hennig, Harley Race, the Crusher, and Dick the Bruiser. My God, it doesn't get better than that. Unreal.
I'd pay for a few tickets to see that.
Oh, God, yes. All right. We got somebody else coming up here. There goes Larry again. Larry Hennig and luscious Lars Anderson. Larry Heinemi has come back. Apparently, he was not satisfied with the honorable mention that he got with the beautiful Buddy Wolf. Larry Hennig and Lars Anderson. This was a team I've mentioned before. They had the secret. They had the secret that was going to take them to the AWA World Tag Team Championships. Larry took the secret to his grave, unfortunately, and luscious Lars at 90 years old. I don't think we're ever going to find out what the secret was, and it doesn't matter because they never won the AWA Tag Team Championship. So whether or not you were privy to the secret, it just doesn't play out. But again, two legendary tough guys, Minnesota-based, Larry Heinemi, Lars Anderson, and pretty boy Larry Hennig.
To be able to just go back to that era, just for a short little while, you know what? I got an idea for a show. I think we use all of the AWA talent that we've ever had and put together our own supercard.
Oh,
I think that would be fun. Heck, we could do two versions. We could have the fans put in their 5 matches that of all time AWA, their top 5 matches, and then we can each give our own opinion on that. I like that idea.
I like it too, and of course,
you're talking like a heavyweight match, tag champion match,
championship match,
yeah,
whatever it is. It doesn't even like no holds barred. You just pick your 5 top matches that you would like to see from anybody that's wrestled in AWA history.
I'm all for it. I think that would be great.
That'd be a fun show.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Larry Heineme, by the way, Lars Anderson is one of the guys that beat the shit out of Paul Pershman. Buddy Rose through training camp. Buddy Rose would tell stories between Anderson and Billy Robinson. He paid his dues getting into the wrestling business.
Did Buddy steal his block of cheese or what?
I don't think he went that far, because in most states that's a felony. A block of cheese.
Yeah, but he probably milked it though. He probably milked it.
Chocolate milked it.
Chocolate milked it.
See what you did there. 217 pounds of chocolate milk and Velveeta. Let's go to what I believe is the last tag team, and
correct.
You have to do it, whether or not you like it. And they probably generated more heat because the fans were pissed off that this is the team that beat the Road Warriors. Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal, Gorgeous Jimmy and Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal, and of course Patty Precious. They were over as a heel tag team in the AWA, but when they beat the Road Warriors, people not only weren't buying it, they were livid. They were absolutely livid that these unbeatable, undeniable Road Warriors could lose to a tag team like Garvin and Regal.
Yeah, but they had help. I mean, the Freebirds interfered and so forth. But what I loved about this tag team is Jimmy Garvin, to me, in the AWA was the second biggest coward, scaredy cat, and would always hide behind Precious and put her in front. And there's Patty with her air freshener, spraying it and so forth. But Jimmy would always hide behind her. Of course, to me, the greatest coward, Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
But yeah, and these two, you all know the story. My very first interview that I ever did with the AWA. So this trio right here will forever hold a very special place in my heart.
And of course, we've seen pictures of the current day Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. You have to look close to establish, maybe even take some DNA. He does not look like the Jimmy Garvin of old. That frock of hair is no longer. Steve Regal doesn't look all that much different. We want to get Steve on the show. We've tried many times.
Mick, it's not Jimmy's fault.
No, it's not his fault. No. You're absolutely right there. Not his fault, and it's certainly not Precious's fault. Nothing is Precious's fault. I mean, God, the poor gal is outside the ring. She's spraying, to disinfect the arena. Hopefully, save the fans from going home with a cold or what have you. If a wrestler gets in the way of that spray, it's not her fault either. Get out of the way.
Yeah. I wonder if Patty would spray that at home as much. And by the way, her and Jimmy Garvin were married. I think still are married.
Yeah.
And but Patty added, I think she was like one of the original Diamond Dolls, not for Diamond Dallas Page, but when she came out and she wore those tight gold spandex pants. I mean, if Parch tried to put those on, actually, hold on, I need a good laugh if I'm sitting here trying to watch Parch squeeze into those. Sorry, Mick. Okay.
That story's so precious.
Yeah, but it's not Mick's fault.
It's not Mick's fault.
One for each of us. At least you're generous.
Okay,
that was a great show, and thank you, everybody.
Keep it classy, Karch. Keep it classy.
Keep it classy.
Why?
Oh yeah, keep it classy. Let's lick somebody's head at the start of the show.
You got a problem with somebody's head getting licked?
I'm gonna disinfect my screen, Tubbs, just from you. This was a good show, folks, and thank you very much for participating. And obviously, we're gonna probably take it to the greatest heel singles wrestlers at some point. But yeah, every era was represented here. You did good, folks, and we really, really appreciate it.
Agreed.
All right, let's give some shout outs and then take it home. Yep.
All right, my shout out, and this young man is so legendary. He is only going to use his first name, and it is not my grandson, but this is Landon, and he is 11 years old. And Landon is a tremendous wrestling fan. He is very well acquainted with my son and my son's wife. And he could talk wrestling from the 1980s, talk a blue streak. He knows exactly what he's talking about. Amazing. And I put together a memorabilia box for him. He was thrilled to get it. I was thrilled to give it to him. Landon, 11 years old. I'm a big fan of yours, buddy. Shout out to you.
And my blind dart throw of the week really is a blind dart throw. In fact, so blind that I had to throw it left-handed. And yes, I'm right-handed. But it's a name I don't think has been a fan of the week yet. So there's my blind dart throw, trying to give somebody else a little plug, and that's Bradley Breitzman. Thank you for being an AWA Unleashed fan member. Actually, I don't know if he is paying the $5 a month, but I know he's active on our Facebook page. So thanks for listening.
One of my greatest friends in the business, Brad Breitzman, super duper guy. And yeah, he earns the accolade.
Good.
Well, and one guy that I know is paying the $4.99 a month is Christopher Brooks. Always active after we post a video, always giving us feedback. So, Chris, I appreciate you. And from one Chris to another, you're over. Thank you for being a Pinfall member. And Chris is really going to enjoy tomorrow, as are all of our Pinfall members, because we're going to have a back to ringside. We're going to have our watch along. And I mean, for $4.99 a month, you guys, you're getting something that nobody else in the business is giving you. We are the only people that are doing these AWA watch alongs. It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000 meets professional wrestling. They're always over huge, and I highly, highly recommend it. If you can't part with $5 a month, I mean, I understand, but if you can, you're going to be thoroughly. No, I guess I can't say you're going to be thoroughly entained. We'll fill an hour and a half for you.
Entertained in our podcast, like magnets. It's nope, can't get it to go there. Whoa!
Yeah.
Hey, it's a bushwhacker theme.
No kidding.
You don't like
No,
that?
no kidding. Oh no. Oh, turn it off, please.